Hi. I promised to keep this one shorter than the last one, but there's still some important stuff to cover with the letter assignment. I want to make sure that you have what it is that you need to do it right. So the difference in the letter assignment is that you're not addressing your classmates. You're not addressing me. You're addressing somebody who has some kind of role in the problem that you're working with. Who are you going to address it to? Well, let me run through an example, and that example should be able to give you some sense of the resources available to you and the kinds of thinking you should be doing as you're working your way through it, trying to figure out, well, who am I going to address this letter to in order to get something done and responding to this issue that you've identified. If you remember in our previous research discussion, I was using health literacy as an example of a kind of project that would be suitable for these assignments. Here's a white paper from the National Academy of Medicine on improving collaboration among health communication, health education, and health literacy. We're not doing white papers in this class, but if you take the 300 level, the 302 or the 303, there are white paper assignments, and in this course you get more of a nuts and bolts view about how these documents are produced. But in any case, the purpose of white paper is to present issues and discuss research in order to prompt a wider, broader discussion and potentially a response to the issue. So this is a full-on discussion of the issues of health literacy and how to improve communication about health. I want to direct your attention to this section, which is a further definition of the issue of health literacy itself. And here in the second paragraph, the point they're attempting to make is that the suggested health literacy redefinition includes system demands and complexities, as well as individual skills and abilities. And it continues to say the individuals concerned here may be patients or family members. Providers of information may be an array of stakeholders, including healthcare providers, protocol developers, insurance organizations, and pharmaceutical companies. So, stakeholder, what's that word? Clicking through to the library research guide from our Canvas site, remember that link? Rutgers Libraries. And you get the blank page with the link, and you click on that, and you get to this guide that the librarians have put together for this course. There is a tab here called Stakeholders, and it defines stakeholders as groups or individuals affected by the implications of a decision or intervention, and that can directly or indirectly influence the decision or intervention and its consequences. That is a bit cut and dry, but the following section might make it a little easier to understand. Ask yourself, who has a stake in your issue or problem? Who is affected? Who is interested in funding potential solutions? Who are the thought leaders? Who's working on this problem or issue? These are all different people. These are all stakeholders. These are all people who have some kind of stake on this issue and who are affected or who can affect this issue one way or another. These are the people that you need to sift through and make a decision on in order to address the letter. Who you address will have huge implications in the kind of response that you're advocating for, and if you follow through on this project, whether in a group or individually, what you will eventually come out with for a report or for a proposal. The library divides the stakeholder into populations, those who are impacted or served, that is to say the people who this affects. So this would be patients in the case of the health literacy. It could also be the doctors who are then being trained in better communication, or the nurses assisting communication, insurance companies who are being tasked to improve the efficiency of healthcare by improving communication, or the like. They're also the funders. So there may be people who have a stake in this issue that you need to appeal to get money, or to get permission, or to get manpower, or the like. This list also includes grants. So there may be a pile of money available in the government somewhere that you might want to write to and ask for, and then explain what that money is for and why it falls within the qualifications of the grant program. And it also includes funding resources for nonprofits, so foundations, and money that's available from a variety of sponsorships, and then where money comes from if you're looking at a Rutgers or a campus-specific project. I'll return to stakeholders in just a moment, but let's not forget that for the letter, I am expecting that you will be doing research. For the rough draft, I'm requiring 2 research sources to be cited. For the final version of the letter, I'll be asking for 4. Some of the things you want to do is get statistical information. Numbers are very convincing. You want to know, how big of a problem is this? How many people does it affect? How expensive is it? You want to be going to the article databases to look for more information. You could be using this information too to identify potential stakeholders. How so? Well, further research is going to give you further information about the people involved. Using that information, you can further research those people involved and develop a fairly narrowly pointed letter that identifies a single stakeholder that might be the key to resolving the issue. In any case, the article databases are divided by topic. So for the sake of further research, let's go to the medicine and health topic, which is obviously where you'd find more information on the health literacy issue. So in medicine and health, they have a number of different databases. Medline would be the database you'd want to use generally for medicine and health related topics. It is the largest, most comprehensive database of medical related articles. There are other ones here: food science, pharmaceuticals, and nursing, in case you decide you want to go into nursing. Maybe you do. So you click the link to get you into the database. You may have had to enter your NetID and password in order to get here. Start typing in the search terms. So health literacy is our big term, right? Don't forget that some of these databases will offer you some assistance in fleshing out your subject. So health literacy, and then we're focusing on nursing, right? And remember, we wanted to focus a little bit more on mental health issues as a way of narrowing the topic down and focus it. How can we provide excellent health literacy for mental health issues? I think particularly with adolescents, right, is what we were looking at. But in any case, oh, well, 11,000 articles is way too many to be a useful search, and further narrowing down is obviously going to be required. But we'll get to that. You can add more terms by the clicking on the plus to add more fields and the like. But luckily for us, this first article looks really interesting and helpful. The relationship between positive mental health literacy and mental well-being among adolescents, implication for school health services. Now, if you're doing research right away, a big lightning bolt should appear over your head and go, oh, maybe by going to schools, we can help improve mental health literacy. Schools, nursing, school nurses. Maybe your stakeholders should be the school nurses. Oh, and, note that there are librarians on tap waiting to answer your questions. It actually goes to a live librarian, that box that I just clicked away. And we'll discuss library resources still further when we get to the further end of our more research intensive projects in a little bit. In any case, like I said, I wanted to make this short. I want to go on too long. School nurses. We're going to do school nurses. Very cool. Okay. The stakeholders page in the library research guide will have a lot of resources to look for stuff, but you can just do a Google thing too, right? I mean, that's, after all, how much of our research is going to be done. So one thing I want to know is like, well, who are the school nurses? How do I address school nurses? How do I find school nurses? I'm going to see if there's an association of I'm going to spell it right first, right? Huh. So there is a National Association of School Nurses. Is there a New Jersey Association of School Nurses? There is a New Jersey Association of School Nurses. For your letter, you will need a mailing address, and you will need an individual. So you need to find out the person's name who you are addressing this to, which would be the person in charge of the organization if you're addressing an organization, or the person most likely to read your letter. If you click on the Contact Us link at the top of the web page, in most cases, you'll get the address. Oh, that's just kind of down the road for me. Excellent. We still need a person. You're going to have to click around to figure out who that person might be. But if you click on the About Us link here, then we find out that it's Marie Sasso, who is the executive director of the New Jersey State School Nurses Association, whose motto is Leading, Teaching, and Caring. I urge you to give some thought to who you're going to address the letter to. The better the recipient is, that is to say, the more likely they are to have a strong stake in the issue, the more likely they are to be responsive to the kinds of remedies that you're suggesting, or the kind of approach that you're suggesting, the better off you'll be for, well, the grade for the letter assignment, but also better prepared for the group and then individual research projects that we'll be doing in the second half of the semester. Some things to consider would be, well, who does have the power to do this? So I strongly recommend against addressing, let's say, Governor Murphy, President Biden, cabinet members, congressmen, congresswomen, senators, representatives of all stripes. Legislative process is long, complex, and yields very little to individual pressure. If a government solution is the only solution, and rarely is it the only approach to an issue, I'd recommend more considering a lobbying association or the like that might be convinced to put pressure on members of Congress. And the National Association of School Nurses would be one such organization. And I would urge you to, as much as possible, try to approach the private sector. Are there businesses that might be able to help develop or provide a product, or that might be convinced that they have a stake in the issue? Or take a look at local nonprofit and volunteer organizations. Are there organizations that have a strong stake in the issue, or the people who are affected by this issue that might be willing to lend you resources or manpower to help get the job done? Don't look for the quickest, easiest solution. Look for a realistic, workable, real-world solution wherever possible. Good luck.